old as his teammate Wyndham, and I think it's a battle of pride right here. But Wyndham is he's the new kid on the block.
John Dowd comes into this race 12 points ahead of his teammate Wyndham in second place. David Pingree racing for the first time this year, coming off an ACL injury. And Chad Pedersen concentrating as we take a look at the Suzuki track map.
First of all, it's going to be an uphill start with a pretty fast right-hand turn. They've got a new loop, new section before they head up the hill into the back section. And as they come back around to the finish line, they've added a couple of switchbacks just to slow things down a little bit before they head into the whoop section. And all over this racetrack, the soil is so dark and rich. It looks like it has a lot of traction, but it's very deceiving. It's actually pretty slick in spots.
Pingree, coming off 3 months of rehabilitation, says he's almost back to 100% right now. Doing lots of work to get back into this season. He's already signed for next year with Pro Circuit. Our 125 Moto #1 just about set to get underway from Washougal, Washington. Deep in the Cascades, and a good start, good clean start. Lamson, he's got the whole shot with 2 Pro Circuit riders, Pingree and Pedersen. Pedersen number 21 in second place. Flowers also edging in there, 112. Lamson is our leader with Pedersen in second.
Not a bad start for Rayner. Came up on the outside, got kind of closed out to the outside, but he was able to hang on to his position.
Heading into the new section on this traditionally beautiful track. Traction is the big key here at Washougal.
Well, it looks like they've got plenty of it through there. Anytime they stay in that loam or in the berm, as you can see right there, they're going to get good traction. But with that dirt is lighter color and kind of shiny, it's very slick.
Lamson doing a little wheelie coming down the hill, taking the decisive lead right now. The defending champion wants to secure his second consecutive championship before it goes any further.
Well, that's a good way to start out with the whole shot. He's already starting to open up a little bit of a gap. Dowd, you see number 7 just coming by, and Wyndham behind him. So both those guys got a lot of work to do.
With the cool precision of a surgeon, number 1 out in front, and his closest competitors, Dowd, Wyndham, Ferry, and Huffman getting very sluggish starts.
Good look at that ski jump as the riders drop back into the lower portions of the racetrack. One of the faster tracks on the circuit. These 125s are tapped out through here pretty quick as they head up to the tunnel jump. Maybe we'll see a heel clicker later on from Lamson there, being hang on to the lead.
Chad Pedersen in second place. Steve says this is his favorite track, but he hasn't won here, David. Have you had a similar type situation?
Well, this wasn't my favorite racetrack, but I never won here. Got close a couple times, but I could never put it all together, and it was really the start that cost me, and I think that's going to be a real problem for Dowd and Wyndham today. And to tell you the truth, I can't really think of a favorite racetrack I had. They change from year to year. It just depends on how they prep.
Big buddy, you're trying to tell me that you only liked them if you won there?
Well, it's funny, but you know, I can't really think of a favorite track. I know that the tracks where I've won before, I always liked. Even if I didn't like the hotel, I didn't like the track, I didn't like the drive to the track, anything about it. If you win there, you still enjoy coming back.
Lamson into the whoops. Chad Pedersen 21. Number 19 is James Dobb, and number 112 Flowers. Here comes a roaring 34 and number 17. It's Ezra Lusk and Michael Craig on the move. There's down number 7, and 38 is Wyndham.
Number 10 just now getting into the picture way over to the left is Damon Huffman. Got a terrible start, having his problems.
Boy, that's a wicked whoop section if you don't have the right rhythm. Out in front, we've got Steve Lamson now, who's really starting to pull a big lead at Washougal with Pedersen, Dobb, Lusk, and Craig, our top 5. We'll be back with more 125 action in Moto 1 in a moment. Coverage of AMA Motocross is being brought to you by the reigning Supercross 125 and 250 outdoor champions, Honda. Come ride with us. Back to 125 action here at Washougal. Moto #1, you're seeing number 21 in second place, Chad Pedersen behind Steve Lamson, who has left the group. I mean, Lamson is out there. Number 19, James Dobb, is starting to give a challenge now to Chad Pedersen, with Ezra Lusk not too far away on that whoop section.
Lusk fast to that whoop section too, as is Dobb. Dobb's able to use that longer, lanky frame, get through there good, where Pedersen, you see, is quite a bit shorter. So got through that corner nice, though. Scooted through there. Ended up a little time. I think he's a little bit like Jeff Ward. He's faster in some of the tight stuff.
Chad Pedersen's done a good job at not giving up leads this year, as Steve Lamson found out. Pedersen at Buchanan.
Well, Lamson was coming from behind, caught up to Pedersen, figured, well, I'll be able to get by this guy. And in the last lap, they kind of argued for the same line, and Pedersen won that war, and Lamson went down. We keep talking about Lamson being way out front. it's not like he has that big of a lead visually, but this track is so difficult to make up time. These guys are pegged on these 125s. That is a fairly substantial lead because of the fact that everyone is so tight.
If you do have a close battle, though, on this Washougal track, like we're experiencing right here with Chad Pedersen and James Dobb, you have more options to pass on this track than you do a lot of others.
Yeah, it doesn't get that rough. You can see that they're able to take different lines everywhere. Dobbs inside, outside, and for the moment.
Oh, Dobb taking over second place now. Chad Pedersen gave him just a little daylight.
I was about to say, for the moment, Pedersen's doing a pretty good job of taking the best line, but it worked. Dobb was working on him inside and outside. Finally, it paid off for him.
Chad Pedersen comes back with the challenge. Bar to bar, Chad Pedersen inches out in front, retakes second place. Oh, what a great battle.
That was a good move. I didn't think he was going to get him back right there, but he had a little bit of shorter distance, and as he went over that jump, he just drifted out a little bit wide to make sure Dobb didn't have any answer for him.
Neither rider letting the other one get away. Dobb, his best finish this year was Bud's Creek, a 6th overall. He did win the first moto at Buchanan with an impressive performance.
It was impressive, all right, but he did use about every bit of energy that he had. He came back to the second moto, and to tell you the truth, I don't know what place he got, but it wasn't that good.
It was about 35th, if I remember correctly. Chad Pedersen, of course, the second at Buchanan. Overall, it was a great race for Chad.
And this battle perhaps slowed the pace a little bit and riding a little bit more defensive, trying to protect their line, to save their position, and Lusk started to close the gap, and Mike Craig as well. Those guys, maybe their battle has picked up the pace.
Yes, there's a good battle between Michael Craig and Ezra Lusk for 4th place. So right now it's Pedersen, Dobb, Lusk for the time being, and Michael Craig. Oh, a little bumping and rubbing right there. No paint lost yet. Michael Craig, oh, he inches out in front of Ezra Lusk.
It's a great battle. I don't know how long they can keep this up, but it's obvious that they've picked up the pace. No wonder they caught the guys in front of them. And still, Lamson's nowhere to be seen.
Actually, for the fans, this is as exciting as you can get. I mean, with 4 bikes just going back and forth behind the leader, James Dobb has the edge on Michael Craig. Craig is re-signed with Honda of Troy. It seems like after he re-signed, he just became very aggressive, and he keeps up on the 2 wheels right now.
As long as he stays up, he's fast. One of the more aggressive riders, and as we already saw with him and Lusk, he'll do whatever it takes to make a pass. There's Longacre, that's Lusk's mechanic.
Good to see Ed back in the action, isn't it?
Right, you know, he's watching his rider drop back a little bit, but he's still in the hunt right here. Sometimes it's smart to just kind of hang back and let things sort themselves out, and as long as you stay in contact with these guys, you can always make a move later on. If he looks up the racetrack, you can see the Lamson's already pretty far gone. Probably doesn't feel like he's got a shot at that, but second place right now is definitely within his grasp.
Chad Pedersen, an important race with no contract yet for next year. And right now, James Dobb retakes second place on Chad Pedersen. So it's Dobb, Pedersen, Craig, second, third, and fourth, with Ezra Lusk just sitting back.
Dobb riding a great race right now. Really impressed with the way he looks, lines he's taking. He looks pretty smooth, too. Doesn't look like he's using as much energy as the guys behind him. Obviously fast enough to win a moto. He did it at Buchanan. The question is, how long can he hang on with this kind of pace?
Well, he mentioned after that first moto win that he might not have enough steam to go for the second moto conditioning-wise. Being a privateer and having other responsibilities, his conditioning program not up to par. Michael Craig in front of Chad Pedersen now. Ezra Lusk still in the caboose of this 4-bike freight train.
That's that switchback section they just came through before they get into the whoop section. This is where Lusk was fast. Just depends on how you get out of the corner and start in there. Looks like the guys that get a better run into the first few jumps there, if they can keep the bike pretty flat, they maintain better speed. Once you start that up and down motion, you lose your forward momentum.
Dobb going wide and a little crease. Craig, though, can't get by. Craig's bike goes down.
That was lucky for James Dobb. Watch right here. He shouldn't have gone wide. I wouldn't have gone wide, that's for sure. Craig did the right thing. But somehow they just got hooked up a little bit. I don't think he counted on Dobb coming back to the inside like that, but Dobb got lucky. They hooked up, and he got the better end of the stick.
Once again, here's where traction comes into play. You can't recover as fast. Lampson is our leader, but what a battle between Dobb, Pedersen, Lusk, and Craig. We'll be back with more in a moment.
Unbelievable.
Is our leader, but what a battle behind him. We haven't seen much of Wyndham. Let's hear from Ali Seymour.
Ali, what happened to Kevin off the start?
He was on the side of Lusk, and Lusk kind of spun and went into Kevin, and Kevin went into Dowd, and Dowd went into Ferry and took Ferry out. So they were way back at the beginning. So just trying as hard as he can now.
What's his progress after a couple laps?
He's up to 9th right now.
Thanks, Davey Coombs, for that Wyndham update. As Lampson, we check out the Suzuki stopwatch to see an interval. Lapper Tim Ferry with a new fashion statement there. But the second place bike now coming into view. Number 19, James Dobb, a good 10.5 seconds back of the leader. But look at this, Chad Pedersen, Ezra Lusk, Michael Craig. They've gone down, but they're still close.
Well, it's amazing that all these guys are so close like that still. It's good news for Wyndham, who's picked up the pace. And actually, I don't know if he picked it up. I think he's been going fast ever since the
accident
that bad
early,
start. Yeah, but all these guys are right there.
And last year's winner, Mike Brown, number 9, right behind Wyndham. So we might have a 6-bike melee for second place now.
Looks like NASCAR. These guys all so close. And a little bumping and rubbing going on. I think we haven't seen the end of that. When the guys are racing this close, especially this kind of a racetrack, it's not real bumpy. Of course, that section, there's a couple of sections that are, but for the most part, it's fairly smooth. So these guys are forced to just get aggressive, and it's the only way to get by. Get in there and bump the guy out of the way.
Ezra Lusk looked like he ran through an anthill there, the way the smoke came up near the berm. Number 34 on the chase of Chad Pedersen, number 21.
It's a long uphill. Saps the horsepower out of these 125.
On the inside, Lusk taking Chad Pedersen for 3rd.
Ezra glancing over his shoulder, making sure that Pedersen's not going to come back to the inside of him.
The big challenge now on Pedersen is from Michael Craig, number 17, who inches inside. He's got him with the block pass. Look at Wyndham, though. He's really on the throttle.
Wyndham's definitely caught these guys quick, but he's watching all this bumping going on, and think about how much time he's made up. He's still, I think, second place within his grasp, and doesn't want to let it all slip away by getting caught up in one of these battles and getting knocked down.
What an amazing comeback that would be for number 38 if he can come all the way from the rear of the pack early in the race and capture a second place as he's taking on Chad Pedersen to the inside. Good clean pass by Kevin Wyndham. The young Yamaha rider is now moving up the ranks to challenge for 3rd and 4th.
That was a great line. He positioned himself to the inside, kept the throttle on, and out-jumped Pedersen into that corner. I think he'll be able to make another pass, probably make a pass every lap on somebody with that line. Most of the guys tend to drift wide over that jump. Wyndham's got some good lines. He's had to find them. He's had to come through the pack, and of course, when you're back there like that, everyone's taking the best lines. It forces you to go somewhere else, and he's been able to do it and do it fast.
They've just come through an amazing part of the track with a slalom through the fir trees. Michael Craig on the outside, Ezra Lusk on the inside of the whoops, and Kevin Wyndham is on the trail of those 2 bikes. Anything can happen with those guys out in front, and it normally does. I was going to say, Ezra Lusk goes flying, looks back at Michael Craig saying, hey, this is the 2nd time you've been down. Why take me with you, I think, huh?
I don't know what's going on there. That didn't make a lot of sense. Craig definitely wanted to make a statement. Watch him right here. He doesn't even, I don't know, it wasn't on purpose. I mean, he tried to get in there and get into the berm, but he didn't. And definitely a costly mistake. Look at Lusk. He's looking at him like, dude, what's going on, man?
And of course, the benefactor there is Kevin Wyndham, number 38. Patience paid off for Kevin once he got up to those riders.
Absolutely. I thought the last lap, actually right through here, he was just watching all this scrapping and bumping, and it just didn't make sense for him to get caught up in that and bide his time, and it paid off for him.
Kevin just trying for the best position possible as Lampson now with almost a 20-second lead.
I'll bet you Wyndham's lap times are as fast, if not faster, than Lampson. Look how fast he is through this section.
Davey Coombs in the pit area now to check out that recent situation.
Okay, Ed, we just saw Ezra and Craig tangle for the 2nd time. What happened this time?
Craig come up on the inside, just drove straight instead of turning right. You know, thinks he's over in England, so
They both went down. Neither of them are thinking.
Might we see a third collision in this moto?
I hope so. I hope Yogi puts him right back on the ground and just takes off and heads back to the front.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for that.
He should have been a comedian.
Yeah, the Ed Longacre that we love and enjoy. Well, it's Steve Lamson, the dominating leader, but what a battle with Dom, Wyndham, Craig, and McCormick moving into the scene. We'll be back. In second place, James Dobb, number 19, is getting some real feel now from Kevin Wyndham from behind. Michael Craig then, and Mike Brown in back of him. Wyndham putting the pressure on Dobb. Clean cut to the inside. We've seen some people go down in this corner not long ago, but that's a good clean pass by Kevin into second place.
That was a nice move, and as he came in around that fast left-hander, he was kind of up on top of the berm. Good balance to get back into the berm and still make that pass.
A reminder to new fans, as we've mentioned prior, that Wyndham, the only rider besides Lamson to take an overall this year, back-to-back wins at Glen Helen and Mount Morris. So the youngster has really improved steadily this season. He's learned a lot.
He's been impressive so far. It's kind of a rookie season this year as well as last season. He missed so many races because of the mono and the collarbone injury.
Speaking of missing races, number 29 out with an ACL and broke the femur on the other leg, plus broken fingers, is now back after a tremendous amount of time in rehab. I spoke with him earlier.
It's been over 6 months now with a broken femur and a torn ACL. So, you know, I've been through rehab and miles on the bicycle and swimming laps, lifting weights, and I'm finally back now, so it feels really good. You know, it's hard to get yourself in shape without actually riding the Nationals, but you know, I'm hoping for a couple of good top 10 finishes and maybe get one of the motos inside the top 5. That's my goal.
Good game plan, David.
Well, it's nice to hear he's got a goal. You know, there's no reason to come back and try and go for the win. And I think Mitch Payton has got good advice for him. He's not going to put any unnecessary pressure on David. And he's a young kid. He's got a bright future, and it would be foolish to have another injury before the end of the season this year.
Boy, it's good to test yourself out in situations that are tight in racing conditions before the next year comes about.
He's got pressure right now from Dowd, who's been on the gas this year. He's held down second in the series for most of the season, and here's Pingree holding him off right here. So he's pretty much up to speed, but like you said, it's tough to get yourself in shape without going to the races.
59 is Michael Brandis of Team Chaparral behind Dowd.
I think it's obvious that Dowd is struggling a little bit right here. He doesn't look real quick in certain spots, dabbing his feet a lot. His lines aren't coming together. Sometimes you just don't get along with the racetrack. And remember back in the first lap, Wyndham was behind Dowd on the start. They both got a lousy start. And Wyndham passed him and moved his way all the way up into second place. So it's possible from a bad start to get up in there, and Dowd just hasn't been able to get it together. Typically better in the second moto.
It sounds weird to say this, but a 30-year-old getting used to a 125 machine earlier in the season, that's really what his assignment was. He hadn't spent very much time on the underpowered machine.
Well, if you look at his results, he's typically done better on the 250. Maybe it was a team sacrifice for Dowd to just end up on the 125. They're thinking, well, maybe this guy can come through for us in this class. They were really counting on Bradshaw and Doug Henry to get the job done in the 250s, where I think, you look back at it now, maybe Dowd would have done a better job than both of them.
I don't want to get too many mechanics mad at me, though. I didn't mean underpowered as far as the machine itself. I meant in comparison to a 250, especially on a track like this.
Well, he's a trooper, and he's definitely going to go out and train as hard as he can and try till the very end. But on a 125, 30 years old, 31, I guess, is a lot to ask for that guy to come back this late in his career and try to master a 125. That's typically what you do early in your career, then you move up.
Well, Dowd finally getting around Pingree now into 8th place. With Bradshaw's situation on Team Yamaha very cloudy at this point for next year, it'll be interesting to see what Keith McCarty decides to do. Of course, Kevin Wyndham is ready to go for next year. But what happens to John Dowd, a rider who sacrifices for the team and is pretty good on either bike?
Well, I think he's done a good job this year so far, but I'd really like to see him back on a 250 next year. That's where his strength is.
Mike Brown, number 9, his first national win here last year. And Jason McCormick from Vancouver, Washington, a local. We talked with him earlier.
Coming back to Washougal, I'm really happy again, and every year it's got better. In 93, I rode the last year they had the 500s and got 8th, and then the year after that was 7th, and then, 95 I got 3rd. So I think it'll be good this week, and I'm going to try for another top 3, of course, but you know, I can try the best I can do.
A local sponsor fund at this track awarded him more money for third than the winner got last year, which is nice for the local riders.
That's a good deal. And the winner's probably got a few more bonuses than he did, but riding good right here. A lot of times at local track where you're a little more comfortable can inspire you. Remember Tony Almaratio at Southwick running so good in that first moto, track that he was comfortable on. That's showing right here for McCormick.
Mike Brown and Lusk, he's in pretty stiff company after not riding much this year as a privateer. Just doesn't have the support these other guys have. Mike Brown of Honda of Troy, what a great outfit that is. And of course, Team Suzuki's Ezra Lusk with John Dowd, Team Yamaha, right behind him.
McCormick just kind of getting caught into the back wheel of Brown in that last right-hander, lost his momentum. That's allowed Lusk to get by. And you know, all these guys have got a little bit more experience, obviously a lot more experience this year out of races. Kind of expect them to get by. It looks like they're going to. That's not going to feel too good for Jason, but you know, if you can hang in there tight with those guys, it's still a good performance.
Well, he still's up for that local money. Ezra Lusk's pit board. Get mad.
Well, I don't know what get swapped means, but maybe that's a nickname for somebody.
Mike Brown in front of him?
I don't know. I think he wants to get back up there and take care of Craig.
I think so too.
He's going to need to get mad to do it. Craig's up the track quite a ways.
Well, Ezra's had an interesting up and down year, basically in 125s in the end of his contract. He was hoping to have a better performance in the 125s than the 250s for Supercross.
Definitely a good enough rider all in his amateur career, riding many bikes in 125s. He was so strong. I thought really kind of surprised that he hasn't done better this year. I know he's had a few problems. He started off the season with a sprained back and or strained back. I'm not sure which. I guess it's about the same. And you know, it's going to slow your performance down a little bit and make it a little more inconsistent. But after doing so well in the Supercross, I would have expected just a little bit more from him here.
Here is our leader, Steve Lampson, who was just taken away with Moto 1 here of the 125s here at Washougal.
You know he's got to be feeling good inside because this is going to lock up the title for him if I'm not mistaken. And
yes.
That last lap's going to feel great.
With John Dowd in his current position, Lammy would win the title by 3 points here after this first moto. Taking it easy through the whoops. But you got to stay up on top.
I don't think there's any problem there. He's already thumbs up to the crowd. Pretty remarkable with 5 motos to go to wrap it up.
In great contrast to last year where it went down to the final moto with Ryan Hughes. Lampson, our winner. Kevin Windham all the way to second place. Craig holding on to third. Mike Brown in the top 5 as well. Taking a look at more results, John Dowd finishing up in 6th, Ezra Lusk 7th, and Pingree got his top 10 performance in Moto 1. Let's go down to Davey.
Congratulations on the good ride there.
Yeah, thanks. I just got out to a good start, and that's what counts. Got out to a good start and just rode comfortable the whole race.
Right. Were you doing the math in your head? Were you thinking about the championship?
No, I'm trying not to. I mean, I wasn't too worried about it, but I knew that I didn't know where Dowd was and how he had to finish. I knew I was probably pretty close to winning the championship, but I just wanted to win the race, and that's why I wanted to do second moto too. Not really worried about that, but if I did wrap it up, I'm stoked. You know, I'm glad.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks.
For the 3rd time this year, young Kevin Windham has moved up through the pack to take a second-place finish. And he did it in grand style here today at Washougal. Davey.
Kevin, that was a sensational ride from way back on the start. What happened?
I spun a little bit coming off the start. It's kind of actually hard underneath in a lot of sections, and spun, and just once again, you know, I just got a bad start.
Now, you told me before that it seems like you never get off the gate with Lampson. You guys never have a chance to get to race. You hope for that in the second moto?
Yeah, definitely. Whenever I got in the second, you know, I was feeling really good, and you know, I saw Lampson way out there, so you know, I'm ready for Moto 2. You know, I'm not even sweating. I'm not tired right now. I'm ready for 2, and you know, hopefully I can get off with him, and we can have a good race.
All right, we'll look forward to that.
Thanks a lot.
Can Steve Lampson nail down his 9th overall in just 11 rounds of action? We'll find out. Moto 2 125s coming up next. Getting ready for our Moto number 2. Mike Brown, who had a disappointing Moto number 1. David Pingree, though, looked good in his comeback try.
Yeah, sure did. He got up in there. He said he wanted to get in the top 10, and he did. And he's hoping for a top 5 before the end of the season. He's capable of that.
Wes McCoy, Team Honda, already passing out the T-shirts for Lampson. Clinching the title, of course, in that first moto. I doubt that he'll simply go through the motions. Do you?
Now, he doesn't even care about the title. He just wants to win all the races.
Set for Moto 2. It's underway. Lamson gets a good point charge once again. He's got the whole shot. Michael Brandis of Team Chaparral is right there behind him.
Pretty good start for Dowd. If that was Dowd, yep, it is.
Yes,
hard to tell between he and Wyndham, but Craig's up in there.
Lamson, our leader. Brandis, Michael Craig in third as we head through this turn. Dowd, Ferry, the next two riders rounding out the top 5.
A pretty decent start for Dowd. Not quite as good as the first moto. Much better for Ferry, who went down in the first turn of the first moto. See what he's capable of this time. And I don't think he got very many points in the first moto, if any at all. He stayed out there.
He's one of the riders on the bubble for next year, not signing a contract yet with anyone. Steve Lamson, though, showing his character as a champion.
Well, just getting hole shot after hole shot. That Honda is getting off the gate. There comes Wyndham way back in the pack. Lusk, even a worse start. There's Larry Brooks, manager for Chaparral. Happy with Brandis being up there.
Brandis taken on during the Supercross season as a substitute rider when Larry Brooks himself got injured at Daytona. And what an injury that was. Steve Lamson, our leader here in Moto 2. With a surprise Michael Brandis in second place.
They've got about 3/4 of the lap in the books now, and Brandis is still pretty close to Lamson. Still a tight race. As I pointed out in the first moto, though, this kind of a track is, because it's so fast and wide open, not a lot of time to be made up or lost, and especially in the opening laps, everyone stays pretty tight.
Kevin Wyndham, once again, not a very good start for Kevin at this track.
You know, I never got good starts here either. You know, he said he got some wheel spin, and he pointed out the fact that it's pretty slick under there. The ground is so hard. That's one of the reasons this track doesn't get very rough, and it just cost him. So apparently he didn't get that worked out before the second moto and spun again probably. And a lot of work to do coming through the pack again. You get tired of that.
What's it like going out there knowing that you've got a long moto in front of you, 30 minutes plus 2 laps, and you've already sewed up the championship? Most people will have a tendency just to kind of back off a little bit.
Well, yeah, I think your intensity is going to drop just a little bit automatically. I mean, even if you're trying not to let it, it's still going to. But, you know, when you get the hole shot, it's pretty hard to back off. You know, that's a good place to start. I would be thinking that perhaps if he was to get off the line, you know, mid-pack or something, he probably wouldn't be digging too deep to come up with much for the overall win when you know you get the title in the bag. But with the hole shot, he's going to give it all he's got.
Right now, he's gunning for 9 overalls. He's gunning for 13 moto wins in 22 motos. Quite a dominating season.
That's even better than Jeremy's been able to do in the 250 class. It's been an amazing year for him. That battle last year with Ryan Hughes coming down to the wire, I think the way that he won that gave him a lot of confidence coming into this year. And the year started off great, and it was just unfortunate that Wyndham missed the first round and never really got into his rhythm. It looked like he was going to be a threat after he won a couple of overalls back-to-back, but then inconsistency and bad starts really cost him.
Dobb in fourth. Great speed down the hill, outbreaks Brandis and moves into third.
Great line. Brandis came down the hill. He didn't charge off that drop away quite as hard as Dowd did. Then he went wide, so really left the door open. And Dowd's looking a little more aggressive in this moto. Typically better in the second motos, and it's starting to show right here.
As you were saying, only one time, David, has he finished below 4th place in a second moto this year. Steve Lamson, Craig, Dowd, Brandis, and Tim Ferry are top 5. Moto number 2 of the 125s will return. Leader Steve Lamson, number 1. Michael Craig, 17, 2.5 seconds behind. John Dowd is in third with Michael Brandis slipping to 4th. Tim Ferry, a good start for him, number 20. Kim Ashkenazi, then the former Australian champion. Number 9 is Mike Brown, and Wyndham, about 14 seconds back, is making a move on Brown.
Wyndham's got the speed. He proved it in the first moto by being able to come through the pack. And if he can do it again pretty quickly here, he's only 14 seconds behind Lamson. That's not as far behind him as he was in the first moto at this point in the race. So if he can make quick work of these guys ahead of him, he's still got a shot at Steve this time.
Buddy Antonez, too, the top privateer so far in the points, is behind this group of riders, Mike Brown and Kevin Wyndham. Brown, number 9, of course, the celebrated time last year when he bet his mechanic that if he won his first national, he could shave his mechanic's beard and hair. all facial hair off. Jeff Nutter was looking kind of funny. A lot of people hadn't seen him without a beard.
I thought that may have been a breakthrough for Mike Brown. It was a great win, and I'm sure he thought there'd have been many more by now, and probably his mechanic, Jeff Nutter, would be happy to shave his head again if he could pick up a win, if that would make any difference. But hasn't been able to get back to that kind of form since.
A series of nagging injuries has kind of prevented him from being in top form, as we see Ferry, Ashkenazi, Brown, and Wyndham. That's a good battling combination now.
See Wyndham going wide in some of the corners. He's got different lines. Of course, he's got to use different lines. All these guys ahead of him. Now he squares that corner, gets back out into the loam, inside through there. Never following. This is one of the faster sections he has. He uses the outside down here, see if it works for him.
Oh, things getting a little rutty and squirrely down there now. Mike Brown trying to hold off. Kevin Wyndham goes to the inside and then cuts outside.
Just about hit the rear wheel of Mike Brown as he was changing lines right there. Hit his rear tire at that pace and you'll go down. That's a faster line, but you got to be a little bit closer to the guy in front of you to make the pass stick.
Kevin Wyndham now just trying to inch up, looking for the opportunity now. As we've mentioned prior, there's all kinds of places on this track to pass. Of course, there are some favorite spots as Wyndham goes up the hill and into the woods.
You can see that he's just quite a bit fast. It looks to me like, anyways, he's quite a bit faster than these guys ahead of him. He's going all over the racetrack in lines that probably aren't as good as the main groove, but still not losing any time. I would imagine if he can get around these guys, he'll pull away quick. You can see right there, he goes wide before the whoop section here. Tries to get a better run at it.
And the whoop's a good place to set things up. Brown looks to his right. He sees number 38 right on his tail. Here's another good place to pass. Several passes have been made in that turn. Wyndham, though, chooses to go to the outside.
Didn't quite have enough. Couldn't lean in on him right there. Brown just kept the throttle on. If Wyndham had got in there, tried to lean it into that inside berm, Brown would have probably taken him out, and you really couldn't blame him. He had the inside and controlled it. Wyndham working as hard as he can. This takes a lot of energy out of you to try to work your way. You see it right there, a little fishtailing. These guys ahead of him are taking all the best lines, a little bit dustier. All those guys kicking up dirt in front of you, it's hard to see your line, exactly where you want to put that front wheel. These guys they ride so precise. A lot of times they're looking for a certain place to stick that front wheel.
Ooh, Brown almost lost it.
Yeah, with all that dirt flying up, it's hard to pick it.
You know, we haven't mentioned it yet, but I see several rocks on this track, even though it's not known like Unadilla.
Right, there's not that many, but I remember actually coming up that hill once in practice. The last year that I raced here, I got hit in the face with a rock. It knocked the lens out of my goggles, and I had a little bit of a black eye. And you don't see many rocks out there, but they're there.
Conspicuous in his absence in the 125s, Mikel Pichon still out with the chronic fatigue syndrome. In fact, I believe he's back near Le Mans at his home right now as Wyndham makes another charge on Mike Brown. Cuts to the inside this time off the berm. What a move by Kevin Wyndham.
That was fantastic, and just threaded the needle, just barely got around Mike Brown. If we can get another look at that. Comes around the outside, watch him tuck his elbow in. It's like jockeying for position down a low post in basketball. If he'd have hooked up handlebars or elbows right there, they both could have got hung up right there, but nice move to get around him.
Into the whoops, our leader, Steve Lamson, and this time, Lammy's been unable to pull a big lead here at mid-race time.
He probably doesn't care, as long as he's got just enough breathing room where he can take whatever line he wants without somebody coming in on the inside of him. I don't think he'll mind much. Still got the overall.
Michael Craig in second place, looking for a good overall finish. John Dowd up in third. We'll be back after this. Steve Lamson, winner of Moto number 1, still has a good lead as we go back through the pack. In fourth place, it's Tim Ferry, number 20, after a miserable time of it in the first Moto where he couldn't pick up any points. And Ferry stumbles and lets Robbie Raynard in front of him now as Kevin Wyndham comes into the action with Tim Ferry. Good clean pass.
And they get all
and Ferry goes down. Ferry trying to get back at him, lost his balance, and Wyndham lost a lot of time. Several riders taking advantage of that collision now as we see them whiz by. Robbie Raynard and Damon Huffman to name 2. Raynard now in fourth. Huffman is on the move on the inside off the whoops. We haven't heard much from Damon today. In Moto 1, he suffered ignition problems, but it looks like he's got it back together right now.
He looks fast. Of the two, he seems to look a little quicker right now, but then again, Raynard, very unpredictable. When he is on top of his game, he is riding fantastic. The only reason I'm inclined to think that Huffman would be able to get around as he just did was because he just was staying so close to him, keeping the pressure on.
Huffman coming back, of course, after a lengthy rehab as well.
I think he was lucky to escape any kind of surgery on that knee. That particular ligament that was in question is the one that pretty much holds your leg together, and looks like he's going to be able to recover from that, and it's not going to hamper the rest of his career.
Sometimes it's good to have some patience and have more than one opinion before you go into a procedure, a medical procedure. Kevin Windham now trying to once again battle back and get around Michael Brandis. This was a battle earlier in the race. Buddy Antonez, number 22, top privateer in the points, is behind Brandis.
I think here's an example of where Windham, having had a better start, things would have been a lot different for him. He would have never been in that situation behind Ferry that cost him, and he already passed Brandis once, had to do it again. Getting a good start and staying out of all those problems has really been the answer for Steve Lamson this year. He's gotten so many good starts. He's had a couple of bad starts in the second moto, but for him, a bad start would be like a fourth. And Windham was a lot farther back than that in both motos today.
Damon Huffman, fourth place in the opener at Gainesville, and of course then the circuit goes back to Supercross. Oh, Huffman slips out. Unfortunate now for Damon. He'll have to get back up in a hurry to get back into contention. He'd worked so hard to get there and then have one little slip.
Watch his front wheel. It drifts just over the top of that berm right there onto that slick surface, and it washes out. Nothing he could do at that point. His inside leg, which is typically out in front, was already starting to drop behind him. He had nothing to catch himself with.
The big change in the standings. Dowd moving into second place. We'll be back. Well, it'll be celebration time tonight, that's for sure, for this young man, Steve Lamson, who nailed down the 125 title in Moto 1 and is winning here in Moto 2. Just a little icing on the cake this time around, David.
Look how aggressive he is, too. He's got a huge lead now.
That's a lapper you see in back of Steve Lamson.
You can hear him with so much on the throttle. It's always in the right gear, pulling, charging everywhere, aggressive. Picking pretty good lines here. Oh, fell there.
Almost endoed.
How about that? Just about the time I say he's picking pretty good lines, he almost goes over the bars. He's gonna wheelie it over that hole, I would imagine. That's in the berm, coming out of that corner every time, and let the front wheel get into it. The back end kicked up in the air a little more than he expected.
This mechanic Mike Gosler, you noticed with the T-shirt on, at least the one we saw, David, during the break, said Steve Lamson has his competition seeing double. That's on the front. Then you turn it around on the backside. It has champion 1995 and 1996. Here is the continuing battle as we pick it up once again of Michael Craig, number 17, and John Dowd, number 7. They have exchanged second place several times since we saw them last.
Craig right now with the upper hand. He's aggressive. He'll do what it takes to hold on to that position. I saw him take a look over his shoulder coming to that out of that corner. And Dowd, though, I've seen him get aggressive in this season, and he's typically a strong finisher, so he's going to be on Craig's tail till the end of this moto.
Craig with a chance to take second in the overall, even if he should lose this position to John Dowd. But that'd be a nice honor for Honda of Troy, and I know he'd like to stay upright.
Now he will. And knowing that, not sure if Craig does, but I'm sure they'll let him know on the pit board. That'll help him relax just a little bit, but still, I think he really wants to beat John Dowd. This battle, hang on to it right here. This would be a big boost for him, but he keeps looking around a lot. That's a real sign that he's worried about John Dowd, and as long as Dowd's back there keeping him worried like that, that's to his favor.
Oh, a great camera shot as they came right down our lens that time. John Dowd in pursuit of Michael Craig as they go into that bumpy downhill section with the tight left.
This is the roughest section on the racetrack as far as braking bumps going into the corners, a little bit slick. A lot of chuck holes, they call them, in the berm coming out of the corner.
Once again, he looks to his left to see where Dowd, what kind of line is he on me?
Yeah, he's really worried about Dowd. He doesn't want to leave the door open, and Dowd's close enough to put that kind of pressure on him. Dowd, as long as he's right there, coming down the inside, there's Craig again looking.
And Dowd this time has the edge and retakes second place.
You could kind of see that coming. Dowd has been keeping so much pressure on. Craig didn't know what line to take. Kept looking around, wondering where Dowd was. And once you do that, Hannah used to do that to me. And Johnson too. Those guys hounded me. And never knew what line to take. Every time he went somewhere, they were somewhere else. And pretty soon they'd force you into mistakes. You started riding their race.
Yeah, I would think that would get team managers and mechanics really upset at the rider for looking around too much when they want you to focus up front.
Well, if you're looking back, you're not focusing on moving forward, and he's not in the lead. Lamson is, and he should be challenging himself to go out and chase that rabbit, go as fast as he can. If you look forward and focused on that, maybe he'd pull away from Dowd.
Steve Lamson now looking forward to his third sweep on the 96 season. He's already got the championship. Oh, little attempt there at a heel clicker. Didn't quite get the heel together.
That's not necessarily the best jump to try to pull that off.
I was just thinking. I think he decided after he started, hey, I better pull this back a little bit. No, he can do a better one than that.
Yeah, that's a much better place to try it. He's got to give the crowd something to get into. He's made this actually pretty boring for the fans. It's always great when you can get out there and win by a big margin, wrap up a title, win the overall. But,
and he wins at his favorite track, as the graphic pointed out.
Finally, yeah. He's put together a pretty nice season. He's finally won at Unadilla. He never won there before. He never won here. He's getting it done this year.
Most dominating season since the old days, maybe back in Marty Smith's era. They had a different point system in those days, but Marty won every one race but one at one time.
I believe he won just about everything. He was the teen sensation. Then Brock Glover came along and dominated it for a few years. Then Mark Barnett came along and dominated it for a few more.
Steve Lamson announcing that he will once again defend the 125 title. So the youngsters like Kevin Windham, who are trying to move up through the ranks, still have this man to contend with. Steve Lamson, the checkered flag, with John Dowd taking a second. Michael Craig a third, second overall. Raynard and Huffman rounding out the top 5 here in Moto number 2. Kevin Windham in 6th place, but the man of the hour is Steve Lamson. Let's go to Davey Coombs.
All right, Steve, obviously congratulations on the national championship, but another win too.
Yeah, it was good. That's what I wanted to do today. I wanted to win both motos. I haven't went 1-1 in quite a while. I've been going 1-3s and all that kind of stuff. So it is a relief to win the championship for one, and then just go out there and have fun, you know, and try to win.
Right. Do you think your focus will be there in the next 2 races?
Oh yeah, definitely. Cause I wanted. I told myself all the way through if I won early, I was going to keep on going, you know, as hard as I can, and try to win the last 2.
And so Lamson with the overall victory. He has 9 overalls in 11 events. Amazing record. 13 of 22 moto wins. Michael Craig, his best finish of the year, in 2nd place as we take a look at our top 10. Let's go to Davey.
I understand between moto, your boss, Phil Alderton, told you had to be a little more aggressive out there.
Yeah, he was laughing about it. Everybody came in and started bitching at me about being too aggressive, taking people out, but I was so hyped, you know, I was going, you know, I'm not settling for nothing less than to go out there and do my best. And I came out, saw Phil's face, he's happy, and when he's smiling, I'm happy, so I knew I did good then.
Right. You have 2 nationals left to get the first win of your career. Do you think you can do it in 1996?
Yeah, definitely. I followed behind Steve for a long time, and my speed's right there, and it seemed like towards the end of the year, when I start fading, I'm starting to pick it up. And last week 3rd, this week 2nd, next week 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The Suzuki point standing shows us that the rage is on for 2nd place between teammates. Tim Ferry fails to score a point today. Let's go back to Davey.
That was a great ride in the 2nd moto. I think you ended up 3rd overall.
Yeah, I think so. That's what my mechanic just told me. That'd be good. I was a little disappointed in my first moto. I kind of fell over at one point and, you know, and kind of just, you know, lost a bunch of ground on the guys in front of me. But at least I salvaged a podium out of it, so I'm pretty happy.
It's been a great season for Lamson, and the more experienced John Dowd is still holding off the young and talented Kevin Windham for 2nd in the series.
2 more events left on the schedule. The 250s are coming up next.